Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. I'm your host, Ross Benjamin, and I am joined today by my astute colleagues, Mr. Sean Higgs of gamblersworld.net and Jesse Shule of gamblersworld.net. I also am of gamblersworld.net. That's where we would prefer you find us on this show. And there's good reason because Gamblers World is our sponsor. And go to GamblersWorld either .com or .net, and you'll see a NFL progressive pick'em contest. It's still time to get in, folks. The season doesn't start till tomorrow. It costs absolutely zero to enter, and a minimum first place prize of $500. And if you have a perfect score, you get paid too. So it's picking games straight up, not against the spread. And if you have a perfect week, say we put $100 in each week toward the prize money. If you're 6 weeks into the contest and nobody's had a perfect week and you get a perfect week, guess what? You get $600, and we still have a guaranteed $500 first prize, and we pay the top 4 guys in that competition. So without further ado, Jesse Shule. All right, my man. How are you?
Doing well, Ross. September is going according to schedule. You can see me on the leaderboards at gamblersworld.net. Feeling really confident heading into week 2 of the college football season.
Very good, Jesse. And that doesn't shock me. And again, folks, if you're looking for a jump start in college football and the NFL, Jesse's got a proven track record over the last couple of years of getting off to an absurd hot start. And I mean absurd. I say that because if we gave you the figures, most of you would question us, but I can tell you we don't bring anybody on this show unless they're honest and have integrity, and there's no exception here with these two guys on today. Speaking of integrity and intelligence and being a genius and being outspoken, and
you got my good looks and
yeah.
my great hairline.
Never letting me finish what I'm saying. Mr. Sean Higgs, how are you, my friend?
Oh, not too bad. You know what? I'm excited. We got NFL tomorrow. We got college football on Friday. Baseball in a stretch run. Should be a nice little playoff push out there in the AL West and in the NL Central. A lot of fun stuff. So, excited.
Yeah. And guys, if you're watching, go to gamblersworld.net. You will see 10 of the finest handicappers in the country, including us 3. And we got some subscription plans up there you need to take advantage of, folks. Instead of buying on a daily basis, you could save yourself a lot of money, and we'll make you a profit over the long haul. You can get a college football annual package, an NFL annual package, or a combination of college football, NFL from any of the great handicappers over at gamblersworld.net. And myself, speaking of hot Septembers, since 2010, as documented by Sports Capping, which is an independent site for me anyway, 79-35 since 2010 with my NFL September regular season picks. That's correct, folks. And if you need documentation, I certainly can provide it for you. That's 65% winners coming off a 3-2 week in college football week 1. So a lot of good stuff from all of us over at gamblersworld.net. All right, guys. We talked college football yesterday. We're going to talk college football today. Jesse is going to be looking at the Utah at Baylor game. A lot of things to account for there, including Baylor's starting quarterback who won't be in action. And Iowa at Iowa State will be Sean's game. And I'll be looking at Cal and Auburn. Game played in Berkeley, California at the campus of the University of California. And I'm sure all you SEC people are interested in what I have to say based on your past comments whenever we talk about an SEC team on this show. Anyway, Jesse, take it away, my friend. Utah and Baylor, like I just alluded to, Baylor without their starting quarterback. Baylor also coming off a terrible upset loss at the hands of North Texas, and there was nothing fluky about it. They gave up a ton of yards. Texas State. And Utah coming off that, much to a lot of the Florida Gators' chagrin on this program. Utah did cover last week against Florida with their second and third string quarterback, by the way, SEC fans. And not to say the SEC is not the best conference in the country, but folks, sometimes you got to stop looking at every SEC game with rose-colored glasses. So Jesse, without getting off on a tangent there, which I did, and I'm good at doing, tell us about your matchup.
Well, I'm glad you assigned me this game, Ross, because I'm a big Utah guy. We took a lot of flack when I mentioned that I liked Utah in the season opener against Florida, and we saw what happened there. It was a pretty one-sided affair. It's important not to overreact to week one results, though. Utah looked really good. Baylor looked really bad. But heading into week one, I expected Utah to look really good. I expected Baylor to look really bad. I'm not a big fan of quarterback Blake Shapen. So the loss of Blake Shapen isn't a huge loss, in my opinion. If it changes anything, it might change the game plan. They might be a little bit more conservative in their approach with Sawyer Robertson, who threw for 113 yards on 6 of 12 passing and an interception, stepping in after Shapen was hurt. And he was a backup for Mississippi State last year. He's making his first collegiate start. Tough team to start against, a top 15 ranked Utah Utes team. On the other side, we have backup quarterbacks for Utah as well. We got Bryson Barnes, who was good against Florida, but he only attempted 18 passes. He completed 12 of 18 passes, 159 yards and a touchdown. A clean game. He's not asked to do a lot. Utah can play defense. Utah can run the ball. This line opened at 5.5. At that line, you got to like Utah. It's been moved up to 7.5 after the injury news coming out. We don't know if Cam Rising can play. It's pretty iffy at this point, and Kyle Whittingham's not going to tell us until it's probably too late to get in on this game. I'm assuming it's going to be Bryson Barnes again. Also, Nate Johnson, the third string quarterback, flashed some rushing ability in week one. He looked pretty good doing what he was asked to do. I feel pretty confident about this Utah team, but I think the value here, given that we're going to have backup quarterbacks on both sides of the ball, what we've said about the new rules with the clock, 47.5. I expect this to be a slow game, conservative approach on offense for both teams, somewhere in the neighborhood of 24-17 type of game.
All right, so Utah and Baylor under 47.5. Can't disagree with that, and that's a side that's very tough. I know it looks obvious, Sean. You know, Utah impressive last week in their win over Florida with the second and third string quarterback playing. And then you got Baylor, who was upset as I believe, a 27-point favorite against Texas State. So what's your thoughts?
Mute. You're muted.
I'm muted. You give up 42. Like, I was going to agree with Jesse. You give up 42 to Texas State. So the perception is, oh, my goodness, the sky's falling. Everybody saw Utah beat Florida. And you're like, oh, my goodness. The early line on this was, what, a 4, 5? And it gets bet up here. Makes sense. But I can't lay on the road. I don't get impressed by a ranked team. You know, a touchdown plus on a touchdown and a hook. Backup quarterbacks? Yeah. Baylor outright. Now Ross is on the
Ross.
mute. Now Ross has got
You guys are killing me.
no.
Ross, you're still muted.
We'll give him.
I'm going to mention Baylor was 0-5 against ranked teams last year. Average margin of victory in those games, 11 points.
I got, and even with Utah, I do like the coach better than the Baylor coach. I'm a win-hand guy. I like him. He's not a more with less guy because they're always competitive, but for being out in no man's land, he does a good job.
All right,
and it's tough to say
now.
Okay.
Oh, we can't hear you yet. Are you there?
Sounds like Ross can't talk. That's great. It gives me more time to talk.
I was going to look for a little button to take you out of the photo. I just would have took over. Would have moved on to the next game.
All right. Sorry about that technical difficulty, folks, but we move on. And Sean, you're going to take a look at the Iowa State game. And Iowa, 4-point road favorite in Ames on Saturday. So take it away, my friend.
Yeah, what's that? We should actually just have mute on for all this game, the way these guys play offense. The real question is not who covers or total stuff, is like how many guys are betting on this game for both these teams. I mean, these guys is like degenerate state out here. I'm going to, right? Both of these guys, like the quarterback was caught betting on games. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going under here. I'll go under. The last 4 games these guys have played to a average of like 28 points a game. We see like 13 to 3s and 19-18s, just pure ugliness. Iowa, I do a little bit of them minus the points here because they had a real quarterback. The defense is solid, better than last year. And don't be deceived by the final score last week. It was like 24-6 or something with 5 minutes to go, and they give up like a late score to make it a game. You know they're not going to score a lot of points, but the defense is going to come and pound you into submission. And no thank you at Iowa. I'm looking at them last week, 30 points. They get a 60-yard touchdown return. Not impressed with the offense. Give me the under here. 30 and 36.5 in a era where we see a team put 80 up and most totals are in the mid-60s, and we get a 36.5. This is like a preseason NFL game. I mean, this is like a 92 college football game with a 36.5.
Yeah, they say when a total's that low, it's for good reason, or even when it's that high in the 70s or whatever, it's for good reason. So take that as you may. You know what, Jesse, Kirk Ferentz kid, the offensive coordinator, under a lot of heat, and there was a provision in his contract this year, or I don't know if it was just a verbal agreement that if they did not average at least 25 points per game on the season,
25?
Yeah, 25. He was going to be removed.
What did they average last year? Like 12?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's how disappointed they are in the Iowa offensive production. I believe Cade McNamara is the new quarterback there, the former Michigan signal caller. So, yeah, they reached 24 last week, as Sean alluded to. So he's under the gun. And he's going to be under a lot of pressure to score some points. But at the end of the day, Iowa's defense is terrific. Jess, your thoughts?
I mean, their offense has been so bad the last decade. I've often thought they should just run the triple option and forget about passing. Their quarterback play has been horrendous, especially last year. But McNamara is an experienced quarterback. In 2021, he threw for over 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns for the Michigan Wolverines. I like this move at quarterback. I like Iowa, like Sean said. I kind of like a Iowa money line under 36.5 parlay. Yeah. And Sean alluded to the scores. I've got the list here for you in case you want to know what previous meetings have been. 10-7 last year. 27-17 the previous year, 18-17, 13-3. Those are the last 4 head-to-head meetings. Iowa's won 6 of the last 7. Iowa State got that monkey off their back last year, so it's kind of a revenge spot for Iowa. Take Iowa and the under, in my opinion.
Hey, Josh, real fast to add to those little numbers there. 16 of the last 18 have gone under, and I think 2-7-1 the last 10 of recent trends to the under between these two. So
there you go. Proof's in the pudding. Again, the odds makers have adjusted those lines and keep coming down to where it's a 36.5 now in an Iowa contest. And like Sean alluded to, Iowa State wasn't very impressive last week offensively. This is similar to the Rutgers Northwestern game that we covered last week with Doug. And it's a coffee game. And what I mean about that, actually a coffee pot game, is if you want to stay awake throughout the course of this game, make yourself a huge pot of coffee, folks, because you're going to need it. It's going to be a snooze fest.
I thought you were going to say you can get up in the middle of the game and go make yourself a coffee, and don't worry, you're not going to miss anything.
You're probably not going to miss a score.
I was going to say, put a couple of thumbtacks in your socks and get up and walk. You'll be fine to stay awake for this game. Just tap your toes with some thumbtacks under your feet.
Yeah, that's exactly what Sean does, and that's why he's a dancing fool. Anyway,
I sell my foot picks at the $+ Daddy OnlyFans. Jesse's my highest paid member. He's my number one fan.
Yes, he is your number one fan. I'm a close second.
That's a joke, folks. There are no fee picks. I mean, that's you never know. No comments can go crazy. You're like, where? I'm looking for this thing. Where's that?
Anyway.
We've gotten off the rails. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure Seth's in the back's like, what time limit is this? We gotta cut this out at the 15-minute mark. We gotta go to the block.
All right, are you done?
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna we'll probably come out with a coffee cup with Sean's picture on it and a Jesse bobblehead doll sometime soon, folks. So there you have it. Anyway, Auburn at California, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Auburn right now is a 6.5-point road favorite to total 55. Both of these teams are coming off convincing season opening wins. California, I think much more the surprise, not that they won the game at North Texas, but the fact that in the manner of which they did so. The Cal Bears closed as an away favorite of -5, and they just pounded North Texas 58-21. They rang up 669 yards of offense, 357 on the ground, 312 passing, a lot of balance there. Auburn, on the other hand, they just crucified UMass 59-14, covered as a 34.5-point favorite. Those big favorites really did well last week if you're a chalk player. And Auburn is a specific example as such. And the Auburn defense, they allowed 142 yards on the ground to UMass last week. And that's a little bit of a concern, especially that UMass had to be pass happy after they fell behind early. And UMass also averaged 5.5 yards per rush, where California was around 7 yards per rush against North Texas. And yes, neither one of these teams played a high caliber competition, but I think I won't get much argument from anybody when I say that North Texas is the better team as compared to UMass. So I give Cal a little bit of an edge when it comes to who they played last week. Now, here's the thing with me. I see a situation like this, and I can't help it. I got to run it through my database because we're looking at a situation where a team like Cal is coming off an away favorite ATS cover. And then the following week, they're a home underdog. Not only an ATS cover, but they won by 37. They covered by over 30 points in that game.
They went over the game total by themselves.
By themselves, yes. And I don't know if anybody saw that coming, but it's certainly on tape if you don't believe it. But here's what I got. Anytime you have a non-conference home underdog, 8 or less, like California is, and they're coming off a game in which they were an away favorite of between 3 and 12, which they were -5 last week, and they covered that contest. They go 19-1 against the spread since 2001. So that's 95%. Now, Chip would always breaks my hump and says, well, yeah, he'll take the percentage of my angle and he'll say the other way, well, yeah, 20% of the time they don't cover. You're right, Chip. So 5% of the time, these teams don't cover since 2001. So the Pac-12, by the way, before the SEC fans jump in and say, how could you take an SEC team over the Pac-12? By the way, the Pac-12, since the start of the season, 13-0 straight up. Okay. And the other angle I got here, anytime you have a college football home team that scored 50 or more in their previous game, which Cal did, they won by 49 or less, which Cal did. They won by 37. And they're facing an opponent off a win by 17 plus points. And the game takes place in the first half of the regular season, games 2 through 6. 27-2 and 1 ATS, 27-3 straight up, favoring the home team since 2019. Again, I know a lot of you out there are going to go, who cares what your betting angle? Well, you know, the betting angles work, folks. Look at my record over the years. So in any event, I'm going to take, and I know we're going to get a reaction, Jesse, out of this one. Cal plus 6.5 against Auburn. Jesse?
Yeah, you know, Ross, I definitely am active in the comment section. I don't mind getting into it with the guys that are SEC supporters. I know one guy this morning said, you know, just bet on SEC teams. That's the ticket right there. And I'm not sure that betting on sports is quite as simple as that. But I'm not going to back you up on this one, Ross. I'm gonna take a step back and say 6.5 isn't enough points for me, and spare myself some of the abuse that I know you're going to get in the comment section this week.
That's okay. I got broad shoulders, not as broad as Sean's, but I got broad shoulders. And Sean, we got to start getting you commenting on these.
I try. I come in. I'll hit the thumbs up. Sometimes I comment a little bit. I got to get a little more in on the comments. I would be a thumb, like an acknowledgement, because there's a lot. It's to go through everyone is tough. I want to though. I do. I try to.
Well, just think, Sean. If you get in the comments, maybe they'll know that your name's not Shane.
Yes. Has he been back? I haven't been called Shane in a while.
What's your thoughts on Auburn, California, Sean?
I think the Pac-12 should have broke up shop years ago. They start seasons undefeated, so I think they're a little behind the 8 ball on that. So good for them. I already bet Cal. I got Cal plus 7 actually on Gamblers World. So don't buy that it'll be in the 3-pack, so you're going to get anyway, folks. But
yeah,
that's how I roll. I don't hide from it. I tell you what I got here. I got Cal already. I like it, and I had the under last game. I didn't think Cal was going to go down there and destroy them. I figured it'd be low scoring. Texas Heat, Cal early start or 4:00, but 4:00 in Texas it's 110 degrees. I didn't think they'd be able to handle that kind of nonsense. So they did, and I kind of liked them anyway to start the year. I was kind of leaning on over on that team. I thought, I kind of like the coach. They're building a little bit out there. Home puppy here in Auburn. Come on, SEC fans. Auburn's bottom tier, and it's you have your Georgias. I know LSU lost, or A&M's and Bama's up top, and then you have your kind of middle crew. But Auburn is not up in the top echelon of the SEC. All right, sorry, folks. I said it.
Boy, oh boy! Now we're really going to get bombarded. Really going to get bombarded, but that's okay.
Well, they're ranked. They're ranked. Whatever.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right.
They'll have 8 teams in the top 25 by the end of the season to work their magic to get their craziness in the playoffs. This BS nonsense. You want me? You'll get me started. You'll get me started here, Ross.
Well, in the comment section. The SEC has proven to be the best conference over the years. You have maybe not every
awesome
year,
teams. You got really good teams. You could say it. Until Clemson's last couple of years, they were probably one of the top 5 teams, right? You had Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and it kind of throw maybe USC and Clemson into that kind of little tier themselves of who's going to be the best team. You're not talking Mississippi State. It's not like, look at Kentucky. It's not, here comes Penn State. Now, they're all there, but they're not the teams. Georgia, Alabama, and as much as I'm down, I don't think Ohio State's good this year, but they had been up there for a good amount of time. You're not getting that out of Auburn. Sorry, Auburn fans or Florida fans or Tennessee fans. We could go down the line.
All right, you done?
No, I'm not done.
All right, let me get a cup of coffee, Jesse. Anyway, Jesse, somebody said in the comment section that sports betting is nothing but common sense. And common sense always leads one to believe that you never miss the obvious. And when it comes to sports betting, if you're depending on common sense, if you're depending on your gut, the surest way to get an ulcer is to bet with your gut. Okay. Also, common sense does not apply when it comes to sports betting. I think Jesse and Sean will agree, and I know Chip will, that you go the opposite of common sense most of the time. So any thoughts in that regard, Jesse?
I think you need to be a conspiracy theorist to be a good sports bettor. Actually, you basically need to see things that other people aren't seeing. You need to see a situation where everybody feels one way, but for some reason you've isolated something that makes you believe that everybody else is wrong and I'm right about this issue. And it could be a team that's won 20 straight home games, and they're a 9.5-point favorite. You look back and you look at who they played, and you see that they were facing backup quarterbacks, and the average margin of victory was not 9.5, but more like 6.5. And because people don't keep track of who you beat and who you beat and how you beat them. They only keep track of how many wins you've rattled.
And most have a short memory and remember last week, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's a major flaw, in my opinion, of a lot of novice sports bettors anyway. But yeah, good points. And again, folks, if it looks too good to be true in sports betting, most times than not, it is.
I'll say this. I'll say this real
Go ahead,
fast to
Sean.
that.
Go ahead.
To the too good to be true. If it looks easy, it usually is, and it's not a winner. And I'll throw the Phillies out here. Just the last couple days versus the Padres, they were like underdogs. You're like, how the heck are the Phillies an underdog to a Padre team that's been terrible? And yet here come the Padres stealing the game here, there. If it looks like it's easy, it's not. Just go opposite. And it's not the one game, because over a course of 15 games, you're going to win 9 and go 9-4 and make money on it. It's not just, you might lose one time, long term, and that's how you want to bet, not daily. Like, this is it, my whole life on this one game.
Yeah. So, perfect example that you just brought up, the Phillies. Here's a team that over their last 7 games going into last night hit 20 home runs, averaged over 7 runs a game. And what did they do last night against an average at best, inexperienced starting pitcher? They get shut out, 8-0 loss. So again, folks, sometimes statistics, raw statistics, team statistics aren't always the best thing to go on. It's the situation at hand. That's why I like my algorithms that I run and that I implement I'm just not married to that facet of handicapping. I blend other things in as well as what these guys do. Okay, time for us to wrap up. Jesse, let the folks know what you got going on and also what you may have coming up.
Well, it's been a pretty hot start to September for me. I'm all over the leaderboards at gamblersworld.net and all the other sites I'm on. And looking forward to week 2 college football. I will have 5 premium picks. I do have a game of the year up already on the Texas-Alabama game, and I'll have another 3-pack of totals for this Saturday. I'm probably going to be conservative in week 1 of NFL. I did start the season 10-0 last year, and if I'm going to do that again, I got to be awful careful with my picks. So you come and see me, and I think you'll be happy if you do.
Yes, you will. Jesse Shule over at gamblersworld.net. And guys, his record speaks for itself. And like all of us, our records are documented. We don't make up records. This isn't an 80s or 90s show with a boiler room salespeople. We all our records are right there to be viewed on a daily basis. And Sean, yourself, buddy, volume plays this week or not?
Yeah, I have right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 college football. Actually, 9. I'm going to add the Friday game. I'm adding the Friday game today. So I have 9 games up for college, maybe a couple more I'm looking at right now. NFL the same. I got a play up for tomorrow. Sunday, I'll have a loaded card. And obviously, honestly, Monday night, I know people are going to be looking like, oh, you got to have a game up. I don't really love the Monday night game. Me and Jesse were talking about it earlier this week. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't have to bet it because it's a Monday night opening game. But I'll have games up, volume style. NFL last year was pretty good. Going to continue.
Pretty good. 64% with 209 picks, folks. I would.
These guys just want to jinx me. That's all they do. So out here, so I can start out 3-7.
That for somebody, Jesse, I know this. It's a conspiracy theory, Sean. We all want you to fall. So especially, I want you to fall, especially when you got thumbtacks in your feet, bottom of your feet. So, and then
I'll be pacing.
I want to deflect away from my perfect 10-0 start and put all the pressure on Sean.
Yeah, and I hope everybody goes 0-10. Yeah, that's exactly what our goal is. Anyway, you can find me at gamblersworld.net as well, as I alluded to earlier, folks. 79-35 with my NFL regular season picks in the month of September. That goes back to 2010. It's a 65% winning rate. College football coming off that 3-2 week 1, not great, but I'll take it. And going back to December 3rd of last year, 21-10 with my last 31 in college football. That's good for 68%. Since August the 4th, a little over 60% with my Major League Baseball picks. A lot of good stuff. Gamblersworld.net. And you know what the best part about purchasing from any of us at gamblersworld.net? We give you a guarantee. Any single game, multi-game daily package or subscription plan of 30 days or less, if you don't win, we will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price, and you could use it anytime you want, any which way you would like, and you're not married to the handicapper that you didn't make a profit for. Excuse me. If you lost with me, you could use Jesse or Sean and vice versa for all three of us and any of the guys on the site. So there you have it, folks. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, boy, oh boy, we've had over 700 new subscribers over the last 28 days. And I can't thank you enough, folks. All of us can't thank you enough. That's tremendous. But if you haven't subscribed, keep in mind, you're watching this because you like sports betting, or you love sports betting, and you're interested in sports betting. Why wouldn't you subscribe? It's absolutely nothing. It's absolutely nothing to subscribe, meaning there's no cost. It's free. Everybody likes free. And you'll be privy to some of the best sports betting information you'll find anywhere on the internet. And I very confidently can say that. That's no shun to anybody else, but that's how confident we are in our ability here on this show and the guys that we bring on here. Also, folks, to subscribe, if you're on your PC, WC button, you'll see a WC logo, the bottom right-hand corner of the video box. Just click on that. That'll get you subscribed. If you're on your mobile device, black subscribe button right underneath the video box. You can't miss it. Hit that and subscribe. And I'm going to ask you to go one step further and go into your YouTube settings, hit the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle sports betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon us publishing any of our podcasts here on this channel. There's a like button right below. And Jesse?
You guys know the drill. You probably should have done this already, but in case you forgot, smash that like button.
Okay.
Yeesh. I was getting ready for it. I was moving my headset around.
Well, I'm full of energy right through the show, and when he says that, it's exhausting. Anyway, until the
I had
next
ringing
time,
in my ears. I didn't know if it was from Jesse yelling or I'm just getting tinnitus. I don't know what it is. I think it's tinnitus.
Anyway, until the next time, for Jesse, Shule, and Sean Higgs.
Wait, we're live Friday. Got to tell them Friday we're live. It's a live
Friday.
show.
We're live, folks. So
and SEC fans that want to give us the gears, show up Friday. We'll be ready for you.
There you go. So it's Friday live show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Again, if you can't catch us live on that show, it will be up on archives. So, but we encourage you, join us on Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'd love to hear what you have to say. If you disagree with us, that's okay, but keep it respectful, folks. That's all we ask. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with each other. We do it here on this show amongst all of us. But if it's done in a respectful manner, it makes for a very good culture on the channel. Anyway, until the next time, which will be tomorrow afternoon, I'll be back with Doug Upstone and Kyle Hunter. Don't forget that live show on Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with my colleagues here. And take care and God bless, folks.